Our fear of threats from outer space may be driving conspiracy theories. From invasion by hostile aliens to apocalyptic asteroid strikes, are we right to fear the final frontier? Tony Milligan writes, "There are many homegrown problems on Earth, but there's still time to worry about bad things arriving from above. The most recent is the asteroid 2024 YR4, which could be a city killer if it hits a heavily populated area of our planet in the early years of the next decade. The chances of that happening are now estimated to be around 0.001%, but there was a brief moment where the asteroid's discovery last year after that, when the estimated danger of the direct hit crossed the 1% threshold of a comfortable risk. There's a need to worry about planetary defense if we're to avoid going the way of the dinosaurs. But there are many other things that could kill us, including climate change and wars. So what is it about space that grabs our attention? And how do these fears affect us individually and as a society? In the long run, something big will hit us unless we can redirect it. The responsibility for preparation begins with us. Yet preparation also carries risks. Daniel Dudney, professor of political science at Johns Hopkins University in the US, has warned that the technologies used for planetary defense can not only guide asteroids away from Earth, they can also guide them towards it as a tool in a military conflict. As explained in his book Dark Skies, Dudney's solution is to reverse, regulate, and relinquish most of our human activities in space for several centuries to come. The more we do in space, he believes, the greater the likelihood that states will end up in catastrophic conflict. The avoidance of civilization's disaster and species extinction now depends on discerning what not to do and then making sure it's not done, he writes. He ultimately argues space expansion has come too soon and we must reverse the process until we are ready. And that said, he thinks that we may still need some form of planetary defense, but that it can be limited. He ultimately argues space expansion has come too soon. Holding off for centuries is an unlikely option, though. The chances of an asteroid strike may well be too high, and the political interest in space expansion is, at this point, irreversible. Fear of space has grown alongside space programs. Worries about asteroid strikes and over-militarization lean into deeper fears about space as the unknown, yet they also lean into worries about self-destructive side of humanity. Both fears are very old. One of our earliest traceable human tales, the story of the cosmic hunt, dating back at least 15,000 years, combines the two. An indigenous Sami version, surviving in Scandinavia, describes how a great hunt in the skies would go wrong if the hunter is impatient and fires an arrow which misses its target and accidentally strikes the pole star. This would bring the canopy of the night sky crashing down to Earth. Again, fears about misguiding human actions and a threat from above fuse. And we can see this in modern technology-driven fears such as ufology. Some hardcore believers in UFOs are not only concerned about hostile visitors, but about secret collaborations among scientists on Earth, or an entire conspiracy to keep the truth from the public. This is an idea neatly captured in recent times by the Chinese space fiction author Cixin Liu, who compares space to a dark forest in which alien civilizations are trying to hide from each other. All of this presupposes something of a bunker mentality, an over-separation of Earth and space, or sky and ground. This is something I've referred to as ground bias. The bias allows space to appear as a threatening outside rather than something that we too are part of. The alien viruses, their realization for such fear shifts about and is not restricted to asteroids, aliens, meteors, and runaway military conflict. There is even a theory that viruses come from space. When COVID skeptics went looking for an idea to explain why mask wearing was pointless. What many of them struck upon was the obscure theory put together by the astrophysicists Fred Hoyle and Chandra Wickramasinghe in 1979. The duo ultimately had a good idea which they followed up with a bad idea. The good idea was that the components for the emergence of life may have come from space. The bad idea was that they came ready formed as viruses and bacteria and that they are still coming. And according to this theory, well-known pandemics of the past, such as the lethal 1918 flu pandemic and even epidemics in antiquity, were apparently the result of viruses from space and could not be the result of person-to-person transmission, least of all from asymptomatic carriers. The COVID version involved a meteor exploding over China. In an interview, Wickramasinghe claimed a piece of this bolide contained trillions of the COVID-19 virus, broke off from the bolide, and was entering the stratosphere, releasing viral particles, which were then carried by prevailing winds. The idea illustrates the way in which fear about space are used to drive anxiety about human failings or wrongdoings. COVID skepticism has since gone all the way into the White House, but fears about space can also be used to critique those in power. In our own times, they're used to fuel narratives about billionaires with private space agendas and presidential access, wealthy space tourists, and even wealthier prospective colonizers of Mars and beyond. It's a tempting narrative, but one that sees Earth as a closed system, which should not be open to the outside. We may at some level be afraid of space itself. We certainly have an exaggerated sense of our earthly separateness from it, and there are some particular things that we do have cause to worry about, but there's also the risk that a fear of space can combine with suspicions about governments, leading us to embrace conspiracy theories as a way to consolidate different kinds of worries into a single, manageable set of beliefs. This is from a conversation by Tony Milligan, Research Fellow, Philosophy of Ethics, King's College London, on Unexplained Mysteries. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.